Often as women, our biggest questions aren't about the details of porn addiction or sex addiction, but our biggest question is, can he still love me and be engaging in sexually compulsive behaviors? Is he capable of love? My answer to that question would be yes, and let me tell you why. Addiction is not about a lack of feeling or a lack of an ability to have a feeling for someone else. It's more about a lack of connection with yourself and with others. So the addict has most likely began early in life learning to cope and escape with his feelings, with his needs, by getting away from people, by isolating himself, by turning to his addiction to cope. So it doesn't mean that he isn't capable of having these feelings or that he doesn't have them. It just means that he's unable to express it the way he needs to because of his coping skills, because of the way he has learned to interact with the world. So it's about a lack of connection, not a lack of ability to feel love or to show love. And secondly, addiction's about a lack of self-love more than it is about a lack of love for someone else or a lack of an ability to show love. The addict hates himself, and at the same time he's trying to meet his needs. He's trying to ease the pain inside. Make no mistake, addiction is a sign of a deeply personal pain and a deep self-loathing. So no, addiction is not a sign that someone cannot love or that someone does not love you. So don't look to the fact that the person's an addict to define whether or not they're a person who's capable of love or a person who's in love with you. If your guy says he's in love with you, believe him, but also realize that he is an addict and he is operating out of addictive behaviors much of the time. So that brings me to my next point. Although it's true that the addict is not incapable of love, is not necessarily incapable of feeling love or showing it, there are a couple other things that are also true. This isn't an either-or thing. You know, life is not always black and white. And the same is true in this situation. So what's also true, besides the fact that he has a lack of connection with himself and others, beside the fact that he is in pain and doesn't like himself, hates himself, well, what's also true is that in the midst of that behavior, in the midst of his addiction, he is acting unloving. He is being selfish. And that's a truth we have to grapple with as partners, and we have to come to terms with that. And we don't let him off the hook and say, it's okay. We say, I know you're a person capable of love. I know that you say you love me, but in this moment, you're acting selfishly and you're hurting me and you're not acting out of a place of love. And the other thing that's also true, in addition to the addict having a lack of connection and a lack of self-love, is that you can only point him in the right direction. You can only tell him what you think about your future, what you would like to happen. You can only point him to resources, to coaching programs, to counselors, and then the rest is up to him. And that's the really hard part as women. We want to step in, we want to take charge, we want to make sure that things go the way we hope they will. And it doesn't always work out that way. So my final thought for you is just remember, if you had something good to begin with, if your relationship was based in something good, if you see the quality in this man, if he has shown love to you and has shown the ability to love you in the past, and you see glimpses of what your relationship could be, then there is hope for you. And you don't necessarily need to just turn and run from the relationship. But also remember that if there is going to be a long-term resolution to this problem, if there is going to be healing in the relationship, then he is going to have to address his lack of connection with himself and others and his lack of self-love.